Well, I think we both agree that if we were to give Doncic a grade to start the season, I would give him an A plus.
A plus for sure.
What would you give LeBron and Anthony Davis to start the season?
I would give LeBron an A plus.
Okay.
And I would give Anthony Davis an A.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I think, obviously, I mean, like, if we're able to sustain this level of play and finish with the best record in the NBA or the best record in the West even, I think you're looking at your MVP and your Defensive Player of the Year right there, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, respectively. So, I mean, AD, the only knock that I have on him is that he's had a couple games where he hasn't shot the ball really well, but even in those games, he's able to impact the game significantly on the defensive end, which is why he's the clear-cut choice for Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. And the only other potential knock is, excuse me, I think he could get more rebounds than he's getting. I think he's averaging single-digit rebounds.
Why are you giving him an A then?
Because he's still killing it to such a degree.
Yeah,
and
but
I think
our expectations for him are that of a top 5 player in the league.
I think he is. I think he's playing to that.
Is he?
I think he is.
He's probably towards
when you factor in the defense,
4 or 5.
When you factor, yeah, sure, but still top 5. So
I would give him a B plus.
Damn, you're a harsh critic, fam.
Well, I like I said before, I'm not afraid to be critical, and it's just because I believe he's that much of an elite talent. It's almost like a compliment that I'm giving him because I know how good he can be. You know what I mean? Because he's actually taking a slight statistical step back from what he performed last year in limited minutes. In limited minutes. They were playing this cat 20 to 30 minutes a game because, after he demanded the trade, management wanted to bench him for the rest of the season. The NBA kind of stepped in and said, no, you have to play him a certain amount of minutes. So they ended up playing him. He's averaging more points and more rebounds on better shooting percentage in that span. Now, that's the reason why I give him a B+. I agree with everything you just said. I think he's defensively the best player that I've seen game in and game out. Right? Like, I think he's performed at a very elite level, and I'm like, wow, I'm super. He's been everything that's been talked about in the defensive end of the ball, and
honestly, he's better than I thought.
Right,
defensively.
I agree. I thought it was kind of a little bit of all talk going into the training camp. I'm going to be Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to hold LeBron accountable, and he's executed on both those goals. So give him mad kudos for that.
That's an A. That's an A, bro.
No, but that's one side of the ball. And B+ is not a bad grade. It's not like I'm giving him a C here. I just see some room for improvement.
Well, that's why he could go from an A to an A+.
A+ in my mind is he's by far and away exceeded my expectations. A is he has met, and the reason why I say A is he's met my expectations is because I demand a certain amount of performance from Anthony Davis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, ideally, I would like AD to grab more boards and shoot better and be more of an offensive threat. I haven't been overwhelmed with his game offensively. I think the first game when we were just trying to throw it into AD and have him work on Montrez, and I'm like, he's not Shaq here, and he clearly, you know what I mean? Like,
he still put up big numbers that game. I think one thing that you're overlooking is that he's and this is like the biggest knock on him throughout his career, that he's just a little bit fragile. He's dealt with, at minimum, 2 injuries this year, one to his shoulder and one to his ribs. And tonight, he injured his elbow. Hopefully that's not something that's going to linger. And he was able to come back and return to the game and win the game on free throws and his defense, getting a crazy steal to close out. But that is, I think, something that needs to be taken into consideration in terms of his shooting percentage. And I still think he's hovering around 50% from the field, which is
was 47
fantastic
as of this game. Which is
so. I mean, I definitely expect better of him, but just given his overall.
So how can you say you expect better and give him an A?
Because you could still get to an A+. I'm just so impressed with his defense. And it's so much, and like what you said, I similarly thought like, oh, the Defensive Player of the Year proclamation that he made initially was kind of just all talk, and that's just the right thing that you should say at media day or whatever. He has not only lived up to those expectations, in my opinion, but exceeded those far and away. Right. And a lot of these close games that we've been able to pull out, both on the road and at home, is in large part because of his clutch-ass defensive plays on the last possession of the game. And I think there's something to be said for that. And so I stand by my A rating. But having said that, I agree with you.
He doesn't average double-digit rebounds. Would you ever think that from Anthony Davis? Would you ever say that's like...
Has he ever played with, I'm going to say, 3 dominant rebounders before? I'm going to put LeBron James in that category as well, as somebody that can put up double-digit rebounds on any given night. He's playing with... And honestly, Rondo, even though he hasn't played every game, he's an elite rebounder for his position throughout his career. So he's grabbing rebounds. We got Dwight Howard out there, multi-time defensive player of the year. We have JaVale McGee out there and LeBron James, who can get 10 rebounds any given night. I don't think he's ever been surrounded by so much talent on the defensive end before, and specifically when it comes to rebounds. So, of course, his numbers are going to take a bit of a regression when you consider the other players that are around him. He's never been on a team this great before from that perspective.
Look, I get that he's maybe not averaging 14 boards a game, but he needs to be double digits. Did Tim Duncan average double-digit rebounds with David Robinson in the lineup? Yes, he did.
Yeah, I mean, and look, we're, again, only about a fourth through the season, so I think when all is said and done, he definitely can get 10-plus rebounds a game. But I don't care, as long as they're winning.
I'll admit B+ is somewhat critical, but it's only because I have such high expectations from him. And I think he can be, in my opinion, he's better than Giannis. He has a more complete skill set than Giannis. He can be putting up nearly comparable numbers. I understand that Giannis is more of the go-to guy, and he's going to dominate the ball more than AD will. So, but I expect AD in lieu of that to be extremely efficient, meaning if in his touches, if he's getting only 15 shots a game, you got to shoot above 50%. To his credit, though, I've been very impressed with his free throw shooting.
Fantastic.
He's shooting nearly 90%, which
fantastic.
is
I think he's top 10, 15
That's
in the
crazy.
league.
I think he's the best free throw shooter on the team.
Yeah, I think by percentage, I believe he is. Him or KCP.
Yeah, that's wild.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I mean, I give him an A, man. We have the best record in the league right now. We've only lost 2 games. He's been dealing with injuries and still clearly the best defensive player in the league up until this point. And I do expect him to continue to kind of get acclimated to the rest of the team and to his role, and hopefully he gets healthy and stays healthy. That's a big-time knock on wood. And I expect him to be in double-digit rebounds for his average by the end of the year. I really do.
I cannot understate how impressed I've been with LeBron's performance so far in the season.
The revenge season is real, dog.
We might slightly disagree on the grade. But LeBron, we agree 100%. A+,
yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
He has been unbelievable. I was scared after the first game of the season.
Same. Oh my God.
He looked a little old.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw that up to rust. I'm going to just say that he was rusty. He wasn't in game shape. Maybe the Clippers came out with a certain level of intensity that we didn't meet because they felt like they had to show that they're the real deal type of thing and that they really are formidable. But since that first game, wow, has he turned it on?
He's entering his 5th prime as we speak.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm lost for words because he's very efficient offensively. He's picking his spots very timely. He puts up
leading the league in assists.
Leading of the league in assists in year 17, which is crazy. If you look at, I was looking at some stats the other day of the highest points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game for anyone entering in year 17. And he is top 3 in every single category, I believe. He's the top points per game, or no, second, actually Kobe beat him, low key.
Hey, shout out.
But he shot the ball very efficiently. He's crazy. He's great rebounding, leading the league in assists. He's playing defense. I can't believe it. I was begging him all season to just try a little bit on defense, and he's locking people up and
taking charges, getting the chase down blocks like he did in his prime.
A lot of that is it's just like the chase. I'm not asking him to take a lot of blocks. I'm asking him to put an effort when someone gets the ball and drives on him. Move your feet, get in front of him, use your agility and quickness on the defensive end, not only on the offensive end. Stay in front of your man, and he's done that consistently. He's closing out on three-point shooters. He's rotating. He's not. If there's like a back screen, he's following his man. He's doing all the little things that probably go unnoticed to someone who doesn't focus on the defensive end, but he's not letting the guy score on him easily. If we look at tonight's game as an example, he was matched up against breakout season Brandon Ingram, who's averaging 25 plus points per game, and Brandon shot the ball 20%, 4 for 20 for tonight's game, I believe.
Them's is some Lonzo stat lines right there.
To say the least, Lonzo wouldn't even take 20 shots in the game, but that's a separate discussion.